How well do you know all the paths? Do you know exactly how to get to every ending?
We should do, but while we were making this, there were some bits we realised while we were doing the mix, where you mix all the sound. There was a point where we realised we were mixing a segment it was no longer possible to get to. Wasn't there at one point?
Which was very motivational for the whole team,
Yeah.
going, so we do the thing that no one's going to see, okay, yeah.
You know, somebody put a section up on YouTube that it's impossible to get to.
How did they get to it?
Well, that's the question. I don't know. I think they must have illegally ripped it out of the. I don't know. I don't know. But there's a scene that you cannot get to that's on YouTube. I probably shouldn't say that, but there is. Yeah. So it's a mystery to us in some ways.
And how did you keep track of all these storylines while you were shooting?
Yes, so it was a whole new way of having to produce. It was, on day one, we turned up and we had our normal running order of what we were going to shoot that day. And very quickly we realised that we'd got it all wrong and we just ripped up the running order and just started again. Because it was so confusing for the actors who are doing, you know, sometimes different versions of the same scene, all appearing in different playthroughs that they could not keep on top of it. So the most important thing was holding on to the characters and the actors and their confidence in their role. So we rescheduled everything to make it as easier for the actor rather than for the economy of the production. So it was a whole new way of doing it. Across every single stage of the film was new. New way of doing things.
I don't know that we did. I mean, it was a real struggle to keep it all in your head.
Yeah.
Really.
And why did you decide to include Netflix on the narrative, in the story?
That just showed up while I was like coming up with the initial outline, which I had to do in Twine, which is like an interactive fiction sort of coding language, which is free. You can access it online.
Rush out and get it, everyone.
Rush out and do it. What was fun was normally when you're coming up with a story, you're trying to actually eliminate choices and keep things as you have to throw ideas out. And with this, I could go, well, here's an extra branch I can actually explore. And at one point, I just thought, well, it would be funny to tell the character the truth and tell him literally that you're watching him on Netflix. That's funny because in 1984, if he tells anyone that, he sounds crazy, even though he's telling the truth. So it just came up as an idea that amused me, which is often how things end up in Black Mirror.
Yeah.
And originally that path was much more hidden than it was in the final thing. It was sort of almost a bonus that you could only get to by going through before. And then we opened it up a bit earlier because we wanted, because it was such a different path from the other path. It felt like a good opportunity to really give people meaningful differences in their experience.
Yeah. And also, thematically, it's bringing you're stripping back another level, another layer in terms of who's in control. And so the person at home watching the film, it thinks that they're totally in control, and then they become aware that Stefan is aware of them, and then the viewer becomes aware that Netflix is giving them the choices. So it was just another funny reveal on who actually, another funny reveal on who actually is in control and, free will.
You know who's in control?
Who is in control?
I am.
Oh, great.
Like that.
He is the puppet master.